Tall guys in the back. Everyone? Everyone's good? Is everybody good? All right, terrific. Well, thanks very much for being here today. We are not every member of the minority Republican caucus of Metro Council will be with us today, but this is the update, the first update that we're having since our September press conference, where we rolled out our Safer Louisville plan. One of the key things to note is that every single member of this caucus, both standing behind me and those that couldn't join us today, all campaign with our number one goal being to improve public safety in this city. And we are making good on it through our Safer Louisville plan. And this is part and parcel of what we committed to in September, which is that we will have regular updates on the progress of this plan. And what you're going to hear today is the first update that includes what we've accomplished, things we're working on, and even some new items that we're adding to this. I will highlight the fact that we are not going to update on every single one of the 18 policy proposals that we have, because some things are in flight, some things are longer term. We're going to highlight a few things today, but we are going to be submitting information to the public that will include updates on every single one of those items. As a reminder, it was September 9th, 2025, where the Republican members of Metro Council, the Minority Caucus, rolled out our now 18 policy proposals as part of our Safer Louisville plan, and we're looking forward to updating you today on that plan. As a reminder, there were 4 main categories where our policy proposals fell into. Those categories include safety on our streets, quality of life improvements, transparency within our courts, and completion of the new Juvenile Justice Center and jail. The first thing we're going to do is highlight some of the wins we've had over the last several months. And the first thing we're going to highlight, and I'm going to have Jeff Hudson come up here and talk more about it, is our anti-human trafficking ordinance. Councilman Hudson.
Thank you, Councilman. So I started working on this issue in October 2024, putting together a task force to look into the issue of human trafficking in Metro Louisville. This is a matter that impacts not only public safety, but the health and well-being and dignity of our residents. After more than a year of work of that task force doing their work, the Metro Council overwhelmingly passed an ordinance back in November that replaced an ineffective ordinance that had been on the books since 1974, but hadn't even been enforced since 2011. This new ordinance gives Louisville the tools necessary to pivot to a position of implementation, which is exactly where we are right now. The wheels are in motion to make tangible and positive impacts on the safety and well-being of the people in our city. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the people that were on that task force, starting with Mayor Greenberg, Deputy Mayor Nicole George, my colleagues on Metro Council, Jefferson County Attorney Office, LMPD, the Alcohol Beverage Control Board, Department of Health and Wellness, FBI, Department of Homeland Security, Kentucky Attorney General, community advocates, industry representatives, and organizations like Scarlet Hope that have stepped up and given their expertise and time to make this happen. So thank you. At the end of the year budget adjustment, funding was put in place to enable us to shift into this implementation mode. This is a testament to what we can accomplish when government agencies, law enforcement, and the community work together toward a common goal. I want to thank again everyone that was involved in this ordinance, and I'll turn it back over to Councilman Piantini.
Thanks very much, Councilman. I also want to highlight another ordinance that we passed with overwhelming support. Unfortunately, my colleague, Councilman Kevin Kramer, is educating young minds this morning, so can't be with us today at the press conference. But similar to the sort of coalitional work that Councilman Hudson did related to the anti-human trafficking ordinance, Councilman Kramer worked diligently for well over a year with a multitude of people to improve our enforcement mechanisms around around secondhand metals regulation, which is already showing results in reducing copper crime across this city. I can't tell you how many phone calls that all of us have gotten about lights out, about Wi-Fi going down, all related to copper theft across the city. And because of his ordinance and the overwhelming bipartisan support we got, led by Councilman Kramer in this caucus, we are now seeing multiple arrests and a slowdown of this effort in the city. I do want to highlight some other policies that we achieved. Number one, did want to highlight the work of our state troopers and coordination with Kentucky State Police, and then add the sheriff's office. So when we rolled this program out, the Safer Louisville plan, we said that we were going to encourage KSP to get more involved in highway safety in Jefferson County, something they really had not done prior for many, many years. And we sent a letter to KSP. We coordinated with the chief of police here, who then spoke to the chief of KSP police. And now we have dedicated KSP officers in Jefferson County doing highway safety, and they're surging officers as needed to help with key state enforcement. So in addition to that, at the time the sheriff's office was in a bit of flux, we were looking to rely on the sheriff's office as well, but I do want to highlight the incredible work our new sheriff, David James, is doing in his office to also step up enforcement, not just in the work they were doing, but they're coordinating with LMPD and surging in areas where we're seeing high crime and quality of life crimes. And their efforts just recently ended up in seizing, I think it was thousands of pills of fentanyl that were coming into Jefferson County. So we appreciate the sheriff's coordination, and we have more of this all hands to the pump effort from multiple law enforcement agencies. Next, I'm going to hand it off to Councilwoman Bass. She's going to talk a little bit more about the crackdown on ATV violations. Councilwoman Bass.
Hello, thank you all for coming. So the illegal ATV and dirt bikes are an issue that impact not just my district, but neighborhoods all across Louisville. I hear about it from families trying to enjoy our park, drivers worried about safety on major roads, and residents frustrated by the damage left behind. This is about public safety, quality of life, and accountability. Illegal ATV and dirt bike activity puts everyone at risk. We've seen riders weaving through traffic, ignoring signals, tearing up green space, and putting pedestrians, kids, and first responders in dangerous situations. That's why we're working directly with Louisville Metro Police Department to move beyond short-term enforcement and towards sustained, coordinated effort. This includes targeted patrols on metro roads and active enforcement on parks property, where damage and safety concerns continue to grow. The goal is consistency, and so enforcement doesn't disappear after one weekend. The cost to our community is real. First, we're spending thousands in public dollars repairing torn up parkland, damaged trails, and infrastructure that were never meant to handle motorized vehicles. Second, when crashes happen, it strains police, EMS, and hospital resources. Not to mention the families involved, we all absorb the cost, whether involved or not. In November, $40,000 was allocated specifically to support overtime for officers to enforce existing ordinances, crack down on illegal ATV usage. We're giving enforcement the resources needed to be more effective. Safer Louisville means safer streets, protected parks, and accountability that actually sticks. And that's exactly what this effort is about. And with that, I will turn over to Councilman Anthony Piagentini.
Thanks very much. All right. We've had a few initiatives that we're working on both past and that we're still working on around infrastructure for public safety. And I'm going to have my colleague and chair of the Public Safety Committee, Councilman Dan Syme, talk about our efforts around training facilities, juvenile justice, and LMPD headquarters. Councilman Syme.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate the opportunity to say a few words on Safer Louisville Act. I am Dan Syme, District 13. Some of the things that we've worked on recently, we've we've got $6 million secured to purchase land for our new training facility in Southwest Louisville. This is going to create not only a safer Southwest Louisville, but a safer region, because state troopers, sheriffs will be using this facility to train in, and it's going to make us safer throughout. We've also have new construction and monies procured for the new LMPD headquarters. And Councilman Bratcher, who was unable to be here today, but he led up a juvenile facility in Frankfurt. Now he's with us, and we're going to make sure we get this juvenile facility constructed sooner than later. And one of the things we're most proud of, too, in creating Safer Louisville is recognizing our police officers, first responders, and those who give their life for duty. And we've designated September for Law Enforcement Appreciation Month, and we ask you to take up this next September in 2026 to find every day to recognize our officers and lift them up. But thank you, and we are mandated to create a safer Louisville. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Nick, just going to highlight a few things that are works in progress. Number one, we've secured new funding for new flock cameras, real-time video cameras, and traffic feedback signage. We're looking to employ technology more and more to assist our law enforcement officers, and we're looking to have a more coordinated strategy around our flock cameras. We've done it somewhat piecemeal over the last several years. Now we're working with LMPD to finalize a strategy that makes sense across the county. And then, we knew one of our goals was to create a new Metro Corrections facility. We know that is a long-term plan, so we want to, at least during this year, begin the process of that long-term plan, because if we don't get some planning started now, we're just continuing to kick the ball down the road. Next, I'm going to have my colleague, Councilwoman Mulvey Woolridge, come up. She's going to highlight a few new proposals that we've added to the plan. Councilwoman Mulvey Woolridge.
Thank you. So as my colleagues have stated, we have been working hard together to continue to focus on our initiatives over the last year. But in addition to those, we continue to identify areas where we can make Louisville safer. Some of those are illegally placed bins. So one of the concerns that have come to our attention are those illegally placed donation bins. So those are in every single one of our Metro Council districts, not in just one or a few of those. They're made of metal or cheap wood. The problem about those is only about 4 of those are actually licensed and approved within the use of the city. Those have been reported people falling into those bins and getting stuck. Even one report is one too many. In addition, these bins are negatively impacting our nonprofit organizations, and they're prey on our generosity of our own community. We are working on a long-term push to remove these bins and better regulate the placement and ensure that to meet proper standards and do not pose a danger on our residents. In addition, we've also have a retail theft task force. Another critical initiative is addressing retail theft. We have been working with LMPD for over a year. LMPD has had a task force along with some of our retail shops for over a year, has been working monthly to enact on these issues. But along with retail owners, the issue impacts our business, our employees, and our consumers alike. It's a problem that affects us all because retail theft impacts the bottom dollar and ultimately our pocketbooks. We are working on strengthening ordinances, and I'm proud to share that the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office and the Attorney General have become heavily engaged in this effort. LMPD has come a long way already, and in building a partnership and implementing strategies together, we are building stronger, more coordinated approach to hold offenders accountable and protect our communities and our businesses. So these are only two examples. There'll be more to come. So I'm proud of the work that we continue to do to make Louisville safer. So with that, I'll hand it back over to Anthony Piazoncini.
Thanks very
Thank
much,
you.
Councilwoman. And then last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to hand it off to my caucus vice chair, Khalil Batchin. He's going to talk about how we're going to continue to update the public and make sure the public knows where we are and has access to the information that is all part and parcel of the Safer Louisville plan. Councilman Batchin.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all. As Tony and my colleagues have alluded to here, that back in September we passed 18 policies, or we put together 18 policies that we want to continue to strengthen and positively impact Louisville. We have been working on some proposals that can, may take a few months, but some will take over a year. But these are very important safety regulations and policies that we're putting in place for our community, our residents, and our constituents. Importantly, we have built a Safer Louisville report card. We've got here that we will be putting out on our newsletters. All of our colleagues, please, if you haven't registered to their newsletters, get on their newsletters, get on their web pages. You will see these reports. We will have quarterly meetings to discuss them, and quarterly press conferences to let the public know what we've got working on. With that being said, we will have another update in May or late spring to touch base on the progress that we've already been working on. So again, thank you all. We encourage you to sign up for our newsletters and check out our web pages.
Thanks very much. Appreciate you. All right, with that, we're glad to take a few questions. Yes, sir.
I guess explain a little bit more about the illegal donation bins. I'm not sure that I've ever seen exactly what you're talking about. So can you just explain a little bit?
Yeah, I'll try to simplify it, and then I'll hand it off to whoever wants to speak it more specifically. But you might see a Salvation Army clothing donation bin, where we're finding that you have to register with the city if you are a charitable organization that's going to put one of those bins out there. You also need to have permission of the landowner of which you put those bins on in order to place them. And what we're finding are illegal, at best questionable, quote, charities, unquote, that are placing these bins across the city. They are not properly registered. We can't figure out who the charitable organizations are that they're assigned to. In many cases, they are illegally placing these bins on property owners, on business properties without permission of those business owners. And again, it's gotten so, first of all, they're fraudulently affecting the public who think they're donating to reputable charities. But in addition to that, we've even had people get trapped in these bins and pass away as a result. So this is a very serious issue that we need to crack down on. Is there anything I missed in it? Yeah.
So in addition, some of these that you can identify, if you look at the side of them and the painting on them, one, they may not have a phone number. Two, you are not going to see the license actually on the bin. And three, you'll see a lot of misspelling on them. So donation is misspelled. You may see the company that is misspelled. So please be cognitive of what you're doing. Again, you have 4 licensed donation bins throughout the city. So please look for that license. If you don't know, call the Salvation Army, call whomever it is that you think you're making a donation to, or actually go to a brick and mortar until we are actually able to get this under control.
Thank you. Does that answer your question? Perfect.
It seems like a handful of these initiatives have been funded through the mid-year budget adjustment in December. How's it been working with the mayor's administration on some of these priorities?
Yeah, good. Yeah, we've had a good relationship with them. I mean, obviously, there's always a little push and pull on details, right? But we've had a good relationship with the mayor's office. I think he made public safety a top tenet of his campaign as well, and I think he's made good on working with Metro Council on all of that. We'd like to see things accelerated a little bit more, maybe than the pace we're at currently. But so far, generally speaking, we've had a very good relationship with the mayor's office. He rolled out his Safe Louisville idea. That's why ours is safer, because it's complementary, frankly. We do not see our priorities as in conflict with the mayor's, but going further to extend these into areas that maybe he didn't highlight in his proposals.
Can you talk about some specific policy proposals that the public might see as it relates to addressing retail theft?
Um,
The language is just a little vague. I want to see if we can
sure.
drill down a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, we're still working on that right now, so there's nothing specific. So we have been asked by LMPD to look into some of those, such as the reselling of some of those to some secondhand stores. So that's what we will be looking at coming. So again, nothing specific yet. We are actually in conversations with not only LMPD, Sheriff's Department, Attorney General, but as well as the county attorney.
And I'll also just highlight that whole effort. I mean, the idea behind it, and again, we need to work in more detail on exactly what that's going to look like and how we can legally effectuate change in this. But it just, we want people in this community to be able to shop, go to their bank without fear of being harassed and robbed, right? We also, the number one retailers that are the most affected are small business retailers. Like I know of one local restaurateur, I won't say his exact name, tried to open up a business in the West End. He was robbed 3 times. His life savings was in that restaurant, ended up closing it down in less than a year because he was just robbed over and over again, right? That is incredibly horrible. And that doesn't just affect that business owner, of course, but it affects the whole community when then businesses can't have a reliable uh, um, environment where they can thrive without being robbed.
There was a moment, I think it was last month, where I think I was driving down towards like 65 Oklahoma exit area, and there was probably 7 to 8 different KSP troopers I saw pulling people over. How often is this going to happen? Because I believe that was a blitz. Can you give us specifics on how regularly we'll see this?
Yeah, what I can say is that we have been assigned a KSP officer to Jefferson County. So at a minimum, there will always be a KSP officer that is assigned to our community. Beyond that, we would probably need to go back to KSP and ask them how often they're to your point, blitzing or surging into the city in coordination with LMPD when they start to see certain highway traffic issues that cause an unsafe environment, and then they're grabbing more KSP officers and coming in. But we are frankly ecstatic to see these officers operating in Jefferson County. We pay taxes just like everybody else in the state does that pays for KSP, and highway safety is their forte. And that relieves the pressure on LMPD and the sheriff's office to really focus on local issues inside local communities.
The streetlight
Yep,
safety
you want
pilot
to-
program, you mentioned two.
Why don't we just?
Sorry, I'll add one more thing to that. KSB and LMPD are working together. You talked about the blitz there. So KSB and LMPD are working together on coordinated efforts. So if it's anything outside of that one officer or one KSB officer that is assigned. So again, anything outside of that, LMPD is working with KSB on those.
Thank you. Y'all had mentioned the streetlight safety pilot program, 2 locations. Can you share what those are?
Where's the locations in there? Yeah.
So, thank you. We are still working on identifying a multitude of locations, and we're going to try to launch those all in one. We are making sure that we have identified hot criminal areas or hot spots, we would call them, to add safety lights and street lights to those areas to brighten the community up, so it's less likely to be a high risk area.
What does 2 locations have been located?
We have a location in South Louisville, and we have one location for sure in District 23.
What is the intersection?
Not at the moment. Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes.
Good question about the street side solicitation. Is that gonna be this year?
We hope so. Yeah, I mean, hard to say. You know, we have to finalize. We are finalizing the language right now. Then we have to make sure we've got the votes and all of this. But yeah, that's something that we hope to move this calendar year. Yeah.
And who would be the person that would be committing the crime or be cited for the criminal offense? Person giving and person receiving?
Again, details that we're working out within the ordinance. But the point is, and look, we even addressed this to some degree a couple years ago. We did pass an ordinance clarifying that. You know, let me put it to you this way: if you're in a vehicle and somebody's on the sidewalk soliciting from that vehicle, that right now can be cited. We're looking to clarify that language and then potentially expand it. But that is already, or at least a lot of that activity is already illegal. And it depends who is initiating the action. But again, we're going to work on the details of the final ordinance.
In addition to that, we're also providing education with the street side solicitation. We're working with Another Way program on some signage in some hard hit areas to where we can advise motorists and other people that are giving that there is another way to give, and this is where it's better given to, so we can get the things that people need into the right hands. So.
Yeah, and the Another Way program, we've been funding that for years now. It's been wildly successful. And again, the purpose is to get the public saying, hey, we want folks that are doing that, if they're struggling, right, we want them to get help. But giving them, $5 on the side of the street and creating I almost plowed into somebody coming off the 3rd Street exit because I took that 90-degree turn. The light was green. I started accelerating. The person in front of me slammed on their brakes to give somebody money. And that did not sustainably help that person who was soliciting on the side of the street. And I came within about 2 inches of just plowing into that vehicle, which could have created a problem for both of us as well as the pedestrian that was there. So.
I know block cameras have gotten some attention as far as like privacy concerns, license information, things like that. I know there's a bill right now in Frankfurt that's been filed that would purge these after 90 days if they're not actively used in an investigation. Is that top of mind for you guys as you fall under that side of the argument that unless it's essential, these should go away after a while?
Yeah, look, the point of flock cameras is not to collect data ad infinitum about the public, right? That is not the point in the slightest. And we're going to, of course, obey all state laws related to this. There's already been a state law that was passed that addresses some of this. I know they're looking at flock camera data now. So we will comply with that law. That's not an issue. If it's not part of an active investigation and the state law tells us we have to purge in 90 days, of course, we would tell the mayor to comply with the law. And that's going to be on LMPD's side to ensure that is happening, and the company Flock who is doing this. So, and by the way, we talk flock cameras. They are license plate readers, right? It's coincidental that right now a lot of them are done by Flock, but there's other companies that can be doing this, and we should always look to see who the best company is to help us pick up license plates that are in known stolen vehicles. So yes, privacy concerns are a serious issue. We will continue to convey to the public that we are not attacking your personal privacy, but this is about identifying stolen vehicles that are a plague in our society, that are used regularly to engage in other criminal activity across the county. So this is a crucial piece of technology that's going to help LMPD, but we will of course be compliant with how the state wants us to use that data on a long-term basis. Yep.
I just add one thing on to that. Within Metro Louisville, there are orders of magnitude more Ring cameras than there are flock cameras. And one of the initiatives of the LMPD is to ask the public to allow them to register those cameras, allow the public to register their cameras with LMPD so that if a car is stolen out of someone's driveway, LMPD is not going to patch into those cameras. They're just going to know that they're there and can go in and say, hey, do you have any video coverage of somebody stealing your car? So that ability to get that finite into where the crime is taking place is extremely important. There's a lot of rhetoric over flock cameras, but as technology advances, we got to keep up with it. Thank you.
I just wanted to give you all 2 examples of where Flock and recent stories have helped. I think you've seen 2 days ago there was someone held at gunpoint on Dixie Highway, and their car was stolen. And within 2 hours, they had that person arrested and found in Radcliffe using Flock. A second instance would be copper theft. You will be seeing more of that coming in the coming days, but we had some copper theft that happened on Pendleton Road, where they are now getting very creative and using hooks on their cars to pull down power lines. And it knocked off all of Pendleton for their internet and things, and it took 2 days to get that fixed. But we've got 2 of the 3, and the 3rd one is coming, and then you'll see that coming out here soon on that theft. So.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
One more.
Yep.
The judicial transparency
Yep.
scorecard. It says here that the Louisville Metro Police Foundation has been above the creation of the scorecard. I know the initial sort of bullet point anticipated some participation from the mayor's office, Jefferson County Circuit Court Clerk. Are there any sort of city resources going into this?
Yeah, right now it's all coordination, right? So yeah, we've met with the Louisville Metro Police Foundation. They're spearheading the effort to create, call it I'm going to oversimplify it by calling it, judicial transparency, right? So people have better sense of what's going on in the judicial process here in Jefferson County. Right now, they have funded personnel to help build that, and they are coordinating with other agencies, including the clerk of the courts and others, to gather that information. So I don't know if other, for example, Metro resources have to be significantly used for it, but it's more like, hey, the information exists, let's coordinate and be able to get a hold of that. And I do know that's happening. Any questions? Yep. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate your time.
Healthy Business Connect Us empowers families to thrive through holistic well-being, early child development, and accessible healthcare.
We are committed to fostering connections, knowledge sharing, and support networks that enhance the physical, mental, and emotional health of children, parents, and caregivers.
By building bridges between healthcare providers, social services organizations, educators, and families,
we aspire to create a world where every child experiences a healthy and nurturing start.
Setting the foundation for a brighter future.
Si no haces nada más,
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 mantente vivo.